Now, in Allegri's press conference before Bologna, he was asked about Samuele Ricci's lack of playing time. And his answer was, I'm very happy with Richie because he's grown since he's arrived. He's changing physically. His legs are stronger and more beautiful, like every top player. He's an intelligent player, very good tactically. He's growing tactically, physically, technically. It has to be the same path for everyone in the squad. Allegri also said, we have players with international experience, like Rabiot, Pulisic, Modric, Tomori, Loftus and Fofana. Then there are players with less experience, but excellent qualities. We have to work every day to give them confidence, and Richie is doing very well. I'm very happy with him. Listen, if there's one guarantee I can give every single one of you guys when it comes to football, play the good footballers and your chances of winning games become 10 times higher. Play the good footballers close to one another and the overall level of all your players on the pitch goes up. Play the footballers. Okay? Now when it comes to Samuele Ricci, we've just discussed what Allegri's stance on him is, which is he's still young, he still needs to grow tactically, he still needs to grow physically, technically. Sharing the changing room with somebody like Luka Modric, it will benefit him a lot in the long run. But the one thing we can't deny, Milan look better with Samuele Ricci. That is a fact. When Samuele Ricci enters the frame, Milan play better. And Samuele Ricci can work hand in hand with somebody like Luka Modric. Let me explain. Now, when Samuele Ricci came off the bench against Bologna on roughly the 65th minute, the first thing I wanted to see during that game was how is he going to utilize them? Is Richie going to sit deep? Is it going to remain Modric? We saw a 5-3-2 as you can see from this photo. Modric became the center of it, the regista. Richie went on the right-hand side to play more as this dynamic box-to-box. Rabiot on the left-hand side, dynamic box-to-box. And I kid you not, Milan grew into the game. Milan were dominant. Milan could have gone on to score 2-3 more goals. Richie, he just brought a different level of energy, but most importantly, besides bringing energy, he brought a different level of technical ability in the final third and especially playing out at the back. Because you have to bear in mind, a lot of teams now are probably looking at Milan and thinking, Luka Modric is always going to drop deep to pick up the ball from the centre halves. So why don't we just put two players on the 40-year-old Luka Modric? Modric, he's been amazing at the age of 40, but Modric is not 27. Modric needs support. What about if you have Modric, but you also have Richie that can drop deep and pick up the ball? I'm going to show you guys a few in-game examples, okay? Before everything, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Let's get into it. First example, we've just seen that they set up in this 5-3-2. The second example is Fofana has had 8 shots this season. Ever since the Serie A season started, he's had 8 shots on goal. Every single one of them, besides one, has been off target. Someone explained to me why Richie's first shot of the season nearly goes in from about 20 to 25 yards. He clips the post. In the final third, he isn't passive. He's got an eye for goal. He's got an amazing strike, just like we saw against the goal against Perth Glory. Richie is one of those players. He can do it in the first phase. He can do it in the second phase. He can do it in the third phase. That's example number 1 of Richie showing that bite in the final third. The second example was him. Who remembers the opportunity where Tomori put in a cross for Santi Jimenez and he missed the opportunity? That all started from Richie. Let me explain. Richie makes the interception in his own half. Richie progresses play, receives the ball back, dribbles past 2 to 3 players. Look at them. They're all around him. They're all trying to get the ball off him. He feeds it into Tomori. Tomori, what a cross into Santi Jimenez. If Santi Jimenez had scored that goal and we rewind 10-15 seconds, Richie started it. Richie played. This opportunity doesn't get created without Richie, 1, making the interception. Richie, 2, beating his man and progressing play. Richie is all action. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So that's an example of Richie in the first phase, progressing play. It's also an example of Richie being able to play under pressure. Richie making the correct decision. Now, the final example I want to share with you guys is when Richie applied pressure in the final third. He made the interception. The ball reaches Bologna's keeper. He tries to play out at the back. Richie is high. Richie is blocking the passing angle. Richie makes the interception once again. Just like how he won the ball in his own half, he's now winning the ball in the opposition half. It results in a Pulisic shot on goal. Richie, when he entered the picture, he looked better, but everybody else around him looked better. And for a young player like Richie, I feel like it does him more good playing the game in a Milan shirt, entering the San Siro whilst having Rabiot next to you and Modric, rather than having people like Fofana and Loftus Cheek. You put the good players next to one another, they automatically elevate one another. And for me, I said it against Bologna, this is the blueprint. Why? Because this trio, it gives you it all. They're good in the first phase. They're good in the second phase. They're good in the third phase. They're good at progressing play. They're good at carrying the ball. They're good at creating opportunities in the final third. Even if you were to feed them some of those opportunities in the final third, they will score. Luka Modric got fed in the final third. He scored. Richie got fed in the final third. He hit the post. Rabiot was in one-on-one before he got dragged back. And I'll be honest, Rabiot in the final third, he knows how to put the ball into the back of the net. Fofana, we've seen him in the final third. Wasteful, the lack of technical ability. These things hold you back. Like, I always sit down and tell you guys, football is a game of small margins. And sometimes that small margin is the level in technical ability, the level in physical ability, a player's in-game understanding, their IQ. When it comes to Allegri, and this is why I feel like the next Milan game, I really want to see who he starts with. Allegri wants physicality in midfield. Whatever team Allegri has managed, you look at his midfield, he always wants physicality. He always wants aggression. He always wants duel winners. I look at it and say maybe, just maybe, the signing of Rabiot will open the door for somebody like Samuele Ricci. Now let me explain. Prior to Rabiot, you could see Luka Modric is too good to drop. Luka Modric is a staple in this team. He has to be a starter unless he's taken out for rotation to give him a rest. If Luka Modric is starting and he's 40 years old, and don't get me wrong, for a 40-year-old, he is amazing. He's been stardust. Modric needs legs around him. Modric needs a bit of physicality around him. Like, even when you see the way he was utilized at Real Madrid, whenever Modric played, they would have the Camavinga next to him. They would have the Tchouaméni next to him. Players that are physical, duel winners, players that have got legs to cover ground. I feel like prior to Milan signing Rabiot, Allegri looked at Modric and said, the only players I can play you alongside are the Fofanas, are the Loftus Cheeks. They're physical. They cover ground. I don't think they win duels, but the fact that they make their presence felt physically is what can help somebody like Luka Modric. But I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, even off the ball, Rabiot is better than Fofana. Off the ball, Rabiot is better than Loftus Cheek. Richie, I could seriously make a case he's better than both of them. But Richie on the ball is also better than both. So when you look at this trio, it ticks all your boxes. You want physicality? Rabiot is there. You want a duel winner? Rabiot is there. You want somebody with height that can win aerial duels? Rabiot is there. But now you want yourself technical midfielders that can play in the first phase, in the second phase, in the third phase, chip in the final third? Richie and Modric is there. And the beauty in it is when Modric and Richie share the pitch, there's no strict position. Like, in some moments, let Richie be the player that drops deep and allow Modric to go higher up. Modric can still score you goals. Modric can still dictate in the final third. Modric can still create opportunities in the final third. But of course, if Modric is a bit more tired and he wants more of a rest, Richie, let me sit. You go in the final third. And I just feel like this should be the trio from now for the foreseeable future. Of course, unless one of them's performances drop off, there's injuries, that's when you can bring in the Fofanas and the Loftus Cheeks. With this trio, you go out and you play on the front foot. I promise you guys, if Milan any game start with Rabiot, Richie and Modric, there is no way in hell they will sit back. There is no way in hell they won't dominate the ball. You've got yourself technical midfielders in midfield, and they always tell you, win the midfield battle and you've won 75% of the game. With this trio, you win the physical battle, you win the technical battle, you win the overall midfield battle. So with Allegri, like, I really hope before he lost his shit and he lost his head and he got sent off, he was sat watching that Richie performance, but watching how that performance had such a positive impact on the team. And the next game, I really want to see that trio start and see what they can do from minute 1 to minute 90. Now, if you're new, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on another one.